That's kind of how I was in the first year with you. It wasn't physical abuse. It was kind of like emotional disregard. But sometimes love is not enough. So why did you stay? You wanted to walk away.
Okay, we going there.
How do you tell somebody to stay?
Wow. Well, maybe you can speak to that place that you were in your life so that the other person can understand, and maybe the guys who are listening who may be in that position won't mess up a good thing.
Yeah, so when we first got married, a lot of the things you said was true, but hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Transform You, where I believe if you can change your thinking, you can change your life. Whether you're watching us on YouTube, listening to us on Spotify or Apple Music, I'm humbled and honored that you took out the time to listen. Season 2 starts right now, and I'm super excited to have a very special guest. My best friend in the whole wide world is here with me. Say what's up to Breeze, everybody. My wife. What's up, baby?
That's like the crowd. Hey, everybody. Hi.
How you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Cool.
We kicking it in the house today.
Rainy, cold day.
Rainy, cold day.
Icy.
Yeah.
It's warm in here.
All right. So today we're talking about relationships because this month, at the end of this month, we have a new venture that we've been doing. It's called Limitless Nights.
Yeah.
And we just believe in creating a safe space where people feel seen and people feel safe. And so Limitless Nights it's like a Bible study on steroids. So we're doing it downtown at the Collective Space. Shout out to
Downtown
Bernice.
Baltimore, that is.
Downtown in our city, Baltimore, Maryland. And we just are excited what God is doing. And so this month is Love Month, Valentine's, relationships. So we talking about relationships. And so, you ready to talk about some relationships?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Let's get into it. What questions you have for me today?
I don't know.
You don't know yet?
No.
Okay.
But I know I have some.
You'll create some. All right, let's deal with how we met. How do we meet?
Oh, yeah. So we met in high school. A lot of people are surprised by that. They're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know you guys were high school sweethearts. Well, we were not.
Yeah.
We
Friends
met in
on.
high school. No. He was younger than me. I met his older sister first. They had just moved from Boston, right? So she was in my class, but she was older than me. But she needed like a, what do you call it? Prerequisite? Elective. So we were like in the same home ec class. And she was just so sweet, such an angel. I mean, she's pretty much the same way now. And she's like, in 2 years, my brother is coming. Like, just look out for him, tell him you know me. I'm going to tell him about you. I'm like, cool. So 2 years pass, and here comes Josh. And I'm like, I know this is not Ashley's brother because he is the total opposite. But anyway, it was cool. Yeah, we were really good friends in high school. Of course, I was upperclassman, so I wasn't really checking for any freshmen and sophomores. But
Wow.
we remained cool. And then life happened. I moved, and, we all did the thing.
What's the thing?
I don't know. Why did I say that? We all just did
You moved to LA?
Yeah, I did move.
You moved to LA.
And came back to visit my sister, who was running track at the time. You were a track coach. And I'm like, oh my gosh, is that Josh? She's like, yeah, he's one of my coaches. I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember him. So I don't know if it was that same trip that I visited or like months later when we ran into you at the mall.
That was interesting, yeah.
And we just kind of reconnected, I guess, Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, Facebook.
Facebook. That was Facebook.
And we went out, and that was like
You're not gonna talk about
years ago?
You're not gonna talk about when we went out, how we went out, or you want me to tell the story?
You tell the story.
So,
I got my
man, all that
this.
stuff she was just talking about, man. Let me tell y'all something, man. And we eating popcorn because we hungry.
It's about to be a movie.
Yeah, it's about to be a movie. I saw her at the mall. A year passed. Her pops did a basketball game at St. Francis. I roll up to St. Francis to see what's going on, and long and behold, she's there. I'm like, what are you doing here? She's like, oh, this is my dad's church. We do a basketball game every year, da 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 da. So I'm like, oh, cool, bet, man, it's cool, good seeing you. Like, of course, in my mind, I'm like, cool, all right, lock in. So her friend at the time had everybody come to the house. I goes to the house and she's there again. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm in there. Let me see. But before we get to the house though, we go to Walmart. And when we go to the
really
Walmart,
late. Yeah, it was the only thing open.
I'm like trying to figure out like, yo, how am I play this? Whole time, one of her other friends is like, yeah, she got to do right now. I'm like, man, all right, cool. I'm gonna play it cool. And so all of that, and we just kind of got close, not after that, not immediately, but maybe like another year. Yes, another year after that. It was your birthday. It was your birthday. This was you were about to turn 25.
It was at the hotel?
So before we got to the hotel, we were like kind of like cool. We had exchanged numbers that night at the Walmart.
Okay.
Just on some cool friend, like, yeah you try to friend zone me for sure. Like, yeah, you friend zone me. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm your friend. Okay. I ain't trying to be your friend.
And you know what? My friends there at the house was like, oh my gosh, he is so cute. Like, what about him? Like, even though they knew I had a little situation, but they definitely bigged you up. And I was like,
oh yeah.
You know.
About to turn 25, and you like, hey, I want to do something. And I'm like, oh yeah, like, let's do something. Like, yeah, let's do something. At this time, I'm outside. I know party promoters. I'm in every club you could imagine from DC to Philly. I'm outside. Like, so I'm like, yo, let's just do a quick shadow down DC. My homeboy, he's a promoter. His people's actually own the club. Let's go down there. What club was that? I can't remember. But it was a real chill situation. Yeah. I take her there, but her best friend rolls with us. I'm like, come on, yo, why are you bringing your best friend? Sierra is rolling with us.
I didn't know you like
now,
that.
This is funny because I'm like, yo, I'm not even driving. Pick me up. Since you rolling with your best friend, since we all best friends, pick me up at my house. She comes, Sierra's in the car. We have a great time. Bree leaves and is on the phone the whole time. On the whole time. And when she comes back, she's like, yeah, it's time to go. I'm like, yeah, I'll drive us back. Sierra's like, no, you will not drive this car. You will not, no. Sierra drives the car back home.
Yeah.
Drops us off. And from there, it kind of just kept going. And then we finally went out.
Yeah.
We finally went out, and it was a Wednesday. And when we went out on that Wednesday, we were supposed to go to this spot down Canton. And
Tuesday.
Oh, it was a Tuesday because it was Bible study. You was going to Bible study.
You
was doing that thing. You was not saved back then. You was not saved at all. And we went to
the first place.
The first place was closed.
Right.
The second place was closed. Now at this point, she like, yo, are you really prepared to go out with a woman like me? And I'm like, hey. So then we went to
bad.
It was down bad. I was getting nervous. I'm like, yo, I'm failing. Like I'm failing. Finally, we went to Mama's on the Half Show, and we stayed there for like 4 hours just talking.
Yeah.
Just talking and talking and talking and talking. I was like, yeah, I'm in there. I'm in there like swimwear.
When you keep saying in there,
it's like, yo, I'm in there. Like I'm about to be in there. I'm about to make her my girl. Yeah, for sure. And that's how it went down. Thank you so much for listening to our little story of how we met.
Yeah, I mean, from then, we just would hang out all the time and just...
no boundaries.
Random...
All the time.
Middle of the night, like, let's drive to D.C. Let's do this. Let's do
it was very crazy.
Yeah, so...
Very spontaneous time.
Fun times.
Fun times. Now we got Dallas and Sage.
Woo.
Fun times.
Fun times. Different type of fun.
All right, so my first question is... What's the difference between who you are now and who you were when we first got together?
I feel like I wouldn't even recognize myself. I definitely I thought maybe I would get married, but I never thought I would have kids.
That wasn't in the plan.
That wasn't in the plan. I thought I would kind of be outside. Like, even if I was married, like, we would just be...
You'd be auntie.
Traveling. I would be a rich auntie.
Yeah.
But I think I have definitely been forced to grow up and mature in a lot of different ways. Especially having 2 girls. It's like, oof. But yeah. I don't know. That's a tough question, but an easy question, because I know life kind of forces you to change. Because the only thing that's constant is change, right? So just my adaptability, I think, is a superpower of me.
Yeah, it's the superpower that you have.
How do you think that you've changed?
I haven't changed at all. And that's the problem. I'm the issue. No, I think the main ways that I've changed, I don't know.
I know, it's a hard question.
It's a hard question, right? Like, how have I changed? How have I changed?
Maybe how have we changed?
Yeah, I think I've changed. I'll get to that. I'll answer that. I think I've changed because I have had to... One of the things I said at my last birthday was I need to be more intentional about my girls. And if I say my girls, that means Breeze, Dallas, Sage. And so for me, when we first got married, we had Dallas immediately. Like, so we really didn't get to do the honeymoon phase type of thing. It was just like straight into parenthood. And so I think the way I've changed is my maturity. I think from a maturity lens, like when we first got married, I wasn't praying over the family in the morning. Yeah. Yeah. So just really the spiritual component has changed for me. So it's like I'm not going to require men or families to do something outside that I'm not requiring my family to do. Yeah. Yeah, outside my family. So I think that's how I changed. I think we've changed because we give each other space now, I think.
Go on.
I think we've changed because we've grown together. We 8 years in now. So about to
8
be
years married, yeah.
It's about to be 9?
No.
It's about to be 9.
No.
It's about to be 8.
Right.
Jesus.
So we've been together.
Okay. Yeah, we've been almost 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I think that's one of the ways that we've changed. We've given each other space to grow. You've given me a lot of space to grow. You've given me a lot of space to grow. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that my relationship with God, which was a perfect answer that you gave, has definitely changed me in ways that do allow me to give you space. You know, like I lean a lot on fully on God, because at the end of the day, I know He's blessed this union. And so I just, it's above me. I just put a lot of the things into His hands, from how am I going to work, clean this kitchen, make dinner, in bed at a reasonable time, to the bigger stuff, our dreams, our visions. So, yeah, me and God kind of locked in.
So let me just switch it up for you real quick. Some women are trying to figure out, some men are trying to figure out, I'm in love with them, but sometimes love is not enough. So why did you stay? And what is your advice to people who feels like they should walk away and they keep staying? Like they want to walk away, but they don't know if they should walk away. Like you wanted to walk away.
Okay, we going there.
I mean, let's talk.
Wow. I'm going to kind of throw it back to you. How did you know I wanted to walk away?
You said it. You showed it. It was almost palatable. You could feel the energy. And this was like year 1. It was very crazy. Very crazy year.
And I asked because a lot of times women leave emotionally first. And so by the time it's verbalized, it's like, the bag's already packed. I'm just letting you know where I am. But I also asked that because I think self-reflection is so important, not only to yourself, but as a couple. to figure out what are those triggers that brought you to that moment. Because like you said, year 1 was absolutely crazy. And a little bit of year 2, and like it's not gonna not be crazy. But I felt like we just were not aligned with our roles in each other's lives. I felt like I was just all in, whatever you wanted, however you wanted. If you didn't want it,
right.
I was just along for the ride.
Right.
And I felt that I gave you more grace than I was receiving. And I just felt like I just didn't have anything else to give.
You didn't have anything else to give?
I felt like I didn't.
What was I doing that made you feel like that? We out the boat now. You might as well go get it.
What is this episode rated?
I mean, either you gonna be real or you're not. I mean, let's get to it.
No, it was a lot of you smelling yourself, I think. You know, you were newly married. We had some money. We had no challenges financially. I think that was the first real level of freedom you had. Just coming from, you know, you being in school and you growing up, and then, I mean, we got married kind of young. And so this was like, oh, I'm also like, I'm grown. I'm a real adult now. So I think that there was a little bit of immaturity there. And by the time we got married, I had like lived alone. I've had roommates. I've lived away, hours away from my family. So I had developed a little bit of independence that I was comfortable with. But I felt that I don't know, I just humbled down. And I just felt like you were like, this is like you finally turned 21. It's licensed for you to just do whatever you wanted, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Would you agree with that?
Okay, I'm agreeing. I'm just asking. Yeah, I think you're right. I guess my question is, again, what made you stay?
Yeah. So number 1, the covenant that we made, kind of like for lack of a better word, the contract that we made when we pledged to spend our lives together. And so I just kind of learned to kind of get out of my head and just, for lack of a better analogy, lean on the contract. It's like, all right, God, you bless this. You're going to have to give me wisdom. As opposed to earlier, I was just thinking in my head, oh, he did X, Y, and Z. In my equation, the answer is 1, 2, and 3. Like, you got a action, I'm going to have a reaction. But I stopped doing that.
So practically, why did you stay?
I stayed ultimately because I love you and we're best friends. And I knew, like, every time that it got really, really bad, we kind of bounced through it. And I believe that you kind of softened your heart towards how I felt, and you became a little bit more considerate. But ultimately, like, you're my guy, so I wouldn't want to be with anybody else. Yeah.
So what do you say to the girl who just said what you said, but she's like, he's my guy, but like, enough is enough?
Yeah, and I've been there. But you gotta figure out what is your guy. Is that somebody who pays all the bills? Is it somebody who listens to you emotionally? Is it somebody who helps you? Like, you need to define who that is. A lot of times like early on when I was upset, I'm like, he is just not the man that I wanted or whatever. But I had to really define that. And be like, okay, who is the man you want? You want somebody who takes care of the house? He does that. You want somebody who takes care of the children? He does that. You want somebody who makes you laugh? He does that. So it's kind of like really defining. I don't know. So I would just say define reality. Define your reality. What makes sense for you. And if he's causing more harm to you, obviously physically, but emotionally, spiritual, then. Because
sometimes it's not just the physical. The physical is the last straw. Sometimes it's emotional and
mental, emotional,
right,
spiritual, yeah,
abuse,
for sure.
Right.
And I think that's, physical is horrible. but the other ones are just as important.
Right. And so that's kind of how I was in the first year
Mm-hmm.
with you. It wasn't physical abuse. It was kind of like emotional disregard.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we talking. So I'm just like, I'm asking, like, how do you tell somebody to stay? I mean, you did. You saw it through. I mean, not everybody's going to see it through.
Yeah.
So what are you going to say to them?
Well, maybe you can speak to that place that you were in your life so that the other person can understand. And maybe the guys who are listening who may be in that position won't mess up a good thing.
Yeah, so when we first got married, a lot of the things you said was true, but I really didn't get to know myself until I turned 30.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, I really started to do the digging. So I was really hollow. I had a hollow faith. I had a hollow relationship with myself. It was really empty. And because it was so empty, because it was empty, I looked in other places to get fulfillment that couldn't fill the void. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about drinking, you're talking about all kinds of stuff. And it wasn't until I did the deep digging and really started asking myself, why are you the way that you are?
Yeah.
Like, why are you so inconsistent? Why does your best friend, your wife, who now knows you at this time, 5 to 6 years, why does she always say the same thing to you? I got sick of it. I got tired of it. So I started facing the man in the mirror. And so I started digging and trying to figure out, when the therapy, started figuring out, like, why is my perspective so jaded? Why do I have this big chip on my shoulder? And so the first couple years of marriage was a nightmare because she was married to a person who didn't know themselves yet. Mm. And so my advice to every man, and women too, but really the men, get to know you. Because once you get to know you emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, once you get to know yourself in those different aspects, then your relationships will start to change. And so I got serious about God. Not to say I wasn't always serious about God, but when you're a preacher, pastor, sometimes you can read the word to give a word, but not read the word to feed your own spirit. Yeah. And so for me, it was just like a wake-up call. And so, that's why that's why I behaved the way that I was behaving back then.
That's good. Wow.
Yeah.
That's very honest of you.
Yeah, that's why it's called Transform You.
Yeah, because it was a rough patch. I mean, it was rough.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna hold you, but throughout there was just a thread of, I don't know, there was like a little glimmer of spirituality, and I knew that's why I think it's important to know who you marry, but from who you marry as well. So you need to know your spouse, but you also need to know their background, their pedigree, their history, good or bad. Mm-hmm. And so I knew that you were better than how you were acting. I knew that you had a purpose for your life, had a call for your life. Now, I don't think that you should marry somebody for their potential. But I think, well, not in this case. I think that you always showed moments of you just being aligned to the Father, that I was like, okay, he's not too far gone. Like, you're still in there somewhere, and we can get through it. And I knew your family. I knew just the stock that you came from, right. That the behavior that was exhibited in our marriage from both sides, because obviously I was not perfect either, it's not a representation of our family, where we came from, and maybe would even embarrass them. I mean, we're grown, but at the same time, you have a legacy. We both have a legacy while we're creating our own. So I'm like, no, it's more to this. Stick with it. you're gonna be okay.
Yeah. I always say you just don't marry the person, or you just don't date the person. You date the person's history. You marry the person's history. You marry the person, but you also marry their past.
Mm-hmm.
You marry where they come from. You marry the stock. You marry the legacy. You marry into something. And so, yes, the Bible says that a man he should leave his family and cleave to his wife. But the reality is that is true. But sometimes we think that is an abandonment of the history. And the history follows the person even if they're not in connection with the family that they come from anymore. The family is still threaded into that person's personality. And so if there's things that you don't like about their family, you're going to eventually see it come out of that person. And you got to know that marriage is a mirror, not a window. A window you see out, but in a mirror, you looking in. So when you create a covenant with a person, they become the mirror, and you see all of the blemishes, all of the scars. You can't hide anything. And so for me, there came a point in our marriage where I was like, yo, I can't hide none of this. Like all these nice clothes, all of this slick talk, she really sees me. Breeze really sees me, and I can't hide from that. And so marriage is a mirror, and you got to be okay with twofold. You got to be okay with exposing the mirror because you can't hide it.
Right.
And then you got to be okay with, there has to be enough trust in the relationship that, yo, even if she sees me this way, or even if he sees me this way, I trust that there's going to be grace for my deficiency. Yeah. So let's get into something else. We're getting a little deep. Let's 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 get into something else. Do you think you could date in 2025? Like,
thank God I don't have to. I don't know.
Do you think you could date in 2025?
No, I really don't. I think because a lot of it is social. There's a huge social media aspect of, and I get it. Like, I don't want to act like an old baby boomer. Like, you're social. No,
it's different.
It's different.
It's different. Like 10 years ago, it was a thing, but it's definitely like a thing now.
It's a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
You have people who are just naturally trying to make their mark in the world.
Mm-hmm.
As we all want to do, and social media is the quickest way to do it. But it's not all honesty.
Mm-hmm.
That, you want your mark to be a positive one and not more so a real one. You want it to be popular, and so I think it'll be tough because you have to figure out, like, first of all, do they look the way they do in person? And I would think, maybe you can answer. Well, I could answer too. I feel like there could be so much temptation. There's temptation everywhere, and not in a spiritual sense, but it's just like.
What are you saying? Say it in a practical sense.
Like social media is just.
You talking about temptation? You talking about like half naked women, half naked men, men with money. Women half naked, like, is that the temptation you talking about?
Yeah, that too. But also with, like, my struggle with social media, that there's always a need for more. Like, there's always a need for you to do better, to have better, to want better. Be it you're being influenced to purchase something, or you're seeing style from somebody. It's like, oh my gosh, I have to buy this. I need to get this. Like, where'd they get this from? Oh my gosh, there's a new lip gloss. So it's just always a constant inundation of newness. And I think it's hard to find your voice in a society that's constantly telling you, what you have may not be enough. So I think that is a challenge to just people in general, dating or not. So I just can't imagine that aspect
of dating,
like as a layer of dating, of just trying to exist in this world where you're trying to find yourself through the lens of social media for some, and find somebody else who's looking through that same lens. I don't know. What you think?
I think the competition is tough.
It's overload.
It's an overload. Like the competition is tough. And if you think you're dating in 2025 and you're not in competition, you're absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
And that's the sad thing, because yes, I want to encourage people who are believers. Like, yeah, it's there's hope, but the reality is, even within Christian culture, there's this view of spirituality that's removed from practicality. So it's like, yo, like, even the way we date in church is weird. Even the way we date in, like, just it's hard. And so, yeah, my thoughts is like, what in the world is going on? And so how do we help people in 2025? That's why we're doing Limitless Nights this month on the 25th, to really talk about relationships and really answer those questions. And so I want to tell people, like, yo, get these questions in. Ask us these questions, because I'm going to answer all the questions that I can answer. Matter of fact, we was just on a Zoom call last night with 2 people from our core team, and they were asking questions, and I was just writing the questions down, and I was like, yeah, I have to answer that. I didn't want to give a premature answer, because I wanted to give a well thought out response. But to hear the questions that they asked last night, I was like, yeah, this is real.
Yeah.
So this is my next question for you. How do women keep the romance in their relationship?
I think it's hard. It's hard to do. But you'd have to be intentional about it. And I'm learning, because like you mentioned, like, we jumped right into marriage, and it was like straight into mom mode for me. And so I felt like I lost the sexy, the romance, and I was just inundated with just responsibility after responsibility. So I didn't leave, there was no space for me to even consider romance.
Mm-hmm.
But I think superficially, like, if you look better, you'll feel better. So I started to try to look a little bit better for myself around the house, and that would make my energy towards you a little bit better. I would say ask for help. I'm a person who does not like asking for help. But ask for help if you need help. And if he doesn't, when he does it, you're going to be like, ooh, child, yes. Like, oh, he look good washing them dishes. But yeah, it's hard. I think you have to be intentional about going out. I think we still kind of have a good little dating life, whether it's with our friends. What does that look for?
I'm listening to you. I'm listening to you say what you're saying. I have nothing. I'm just listening to what you're saying.
Yeah, I think we get out, I think, a good amount of times. I think it's tough. We have little ones, and so I need to, like, learn how to compartmentalize that part of it, so that romance does not feel like a chore. Because when you're overwhelmed, it can feel like a chore.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like another thing on the to-do list of things that you probably won't even get done. But it's like, I have to do this part because I don't want him to think, or I don't want him to want from another source. Yeah, so it's really tough. Like,
you making it sound like doom and gloom.
I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes it could feel like that, even though it's enjoyable for both parties, like us being romantic with each other. But it's just getting there.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, I know for women, it's emotional first. Like, a guy, y'all can just think about it when y'all ready to go.
Right. That's a great point, that it's emotional. And so sometimes we think that the physicality is the most important thing in a marriage, but the reality is, if you don't connect emotionally, the body is just the body. Because men can have sex without the emotional connection. The modern woman now believes that they can have sex without the connection too. I'm not arguing that. I'm not here to talk about that. But I do believe that women need an emotional connection. But I think men need an emotional connection too, because I think especially in marriage, because you're so accustomed to the physicality. I know what you look like naked.
Yeah.
I mean, I love to see you naked, but I know. So it's got to be more than just what I see. It's got to be an emotional high as well.
Yeah. I mean, you see half naked people on social media all the time. Like, we're so desensitized to bodies now.
Right.
So there's got to be more. Yeah, so when I feel the most romantic when I feel seen, heard.
Chores are done. Girls are washed. Dishes are done.
I mean, because there are days where none of that stuff gets done. But I feel like if I feel acknowledged, because early on it felt like you ignored all the things around the house or ignored how I was feeling to just get to it, and I'm just like,
how does acknowledgement make you feel?
Wide open.
Okay.
It makes me feel seen. It makes me feel like another adult here, or it just makes life a little less mundane when my partner acknowledges, oh, the toilet paper is stocked in the pantry, not just by immaculate provision. Like, no, somebody went out to the store, got it, brought it back, took it out the package, put it in the bathroom. Like, somebody that, I had to get in my car, I had to, all of those things. And so acknowledgement says, like, I may not do it, I may not ever do it, I may not help you in that way, but I see that you did it for me, I see that you did it for our family, and it means something. It's of value to me.
Okay, so what should I do today to make you feel like I'm acknowledging you? Like a real practical thing. Not for the audience, for me.
Yeah, I think you did.
No, what can I do?
I was going to talk about earlier today.
I don't want to talk about earlier today.
Oh,
I want to
tonight?
ask, what can I do?
Yeah, I would love for you to acknowledge that the bedtime is the bedtime. Don't change. It doesn't change. It doesn't waver. The kids got to go to bed at a certain time.
And what time is that?
That's 8:30.
8:30.
And before bed, I want you to acknowledge the process leading up to that.
Okay.
So what does that mean? Wrapping up work when you need to, or pausing work when you need to. Getting in place to be able to do a pickup if you need to. Having them back home if you need to. Because I think it just makes everything else smooth. You don't feel frustrated. I don't feel frustrated. They don't feel rushed. Like, oh my gosh, it's 6:45. We just got home. We have to eat and go. You know what I mean? Like, everybody just falls into like a synergy we create instead of it just being so chaotic.
Right.
Because chaos does not make me feel seen at all.
Yeah, I asked you that because I wanted to be vulnerable with the people, because I wanted to be vulnerable with the audience, because you just said chaos does not make you feel safe. You said chaos does not make you feel safe.
That too. Safe or seen.
No, that's how I heard it.
Okay.
You said seen, but
maybe that was good.
Chaos doesn't make you feel safe. And I think if more men, including myself, were honest that your purpose actually is to make your wife feel safe and not to make your wife feel like she's a prize or a fixture or a trophy. Like, the work that you're doing is not for your wife to feel like she got to praise you. Right. The work you're doing for yourself and for your family is for your legacy. And legacy says, I want to create a safe space that my wife feels secure, my children feel secure, and if I got to press pause on my purpose for my family to make progress, I will. And that's a challenge for me. Yeah. And that's a challenge for us. And maybe you can talk about the backside to purpose.
Yeah. I mean, that is, it's huge. I mean, a lot of times we pursue purpose, and I think where we just have our hiccups is that sometimes I feel you pursue purpose with blinders on. And that while it's good, it's admirable, but I'm always like, okay, but what about today? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And you are a strong, strong visionary for our family. You see where we're going to be living, with schools, with vacations, and I love that. And so everything in your day-to-day points to that vision. But, and it's no buts, because I think
no, it is a but. It's a but. It's a but because there's a backside to purpose, and that's what we're talking about. So speak to the but, because that's where people are going to get their clarity.
Sure. The but is that there is a neglecting of present day. And it
wow. You're saying you could be so focused on tomorrow, you're not in today's reality.
Sure. Yeah. And it leaves, it's such a, oh gosh, it's so ugly. I mean, it's like a beautiful, ugly mess.
I want you to be as vulnerable as you need to be to say it. Because we actually having a conversation now.
Right. Now we
talking. Yeah, we talking. Yeah, go ahead.
No, and it's such a beautiful, tragic purpose call. Like, it's just all the things mixed together, because while you are pursuing purpose, and you are passionate about your purpose, which is great, that is you're kind of an all or nothing type of person, and so you lean fully into that. And if you're not careful with how you handle how you pursue purpose, it could make others around you resentful. I think we are products of that. We grew up where our fathers pursued purpose first, and we see the benefit. And I give glory to God that is not how the story kind of ends. Like, I think we are both closer. Well, I can speak for me. I have a better relationship with my father now. And as a parent, I do see the decisions that he made, but I also see the wear and tear on my mom. And so in raising kids, I was like, I want to give more of what I got, which was my mom's love, support, her being there. But it's just in different backgrounds because I work, I travel. But I wanted to make sure that I gave my kids more of what I had because it was so impactful. And I thought that we both were in agreement of that, of how we wanted to raise our kids. But purpose started knocking, and you answered. And people are being blessed by you answering the door, you answering your call. But my thing was, how are you blessing and being a gift to others, and it's a nightmare at home? How is it that you are so passionate about editing a video or crafting a sermon, and you have no patience for our family at home? And so that is what caused me to, create some type of wall or barrier to protect myself, but protect our kids from the things that we went through, right? And so it's difficult, and it's still a process because, of course, you have, the enemy will come in, well, you're going to nitpick with this man, and he's so-called preaching, doing the Lord's work, and you should be able to handle the household. You should be, like, he's doing, you wanted a man of God, right? So it creates this internal, almost loneliness that you have to deal with. And so it's tough. It's really tough to try to find the balance of even, is this going to cause an argument? Are my feelings valid? Is this a real feeling that I should be feeling with two little people in the mix? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. We should do part 2. Let's pray.
Yeah.
Father, I thank you for this conversation. I thank you for my wife. I thank you for her vulnerability. I thank you for the people that are watching this. I pray that you would be with them in their relationships, whether it's with family, friends, or romantic. I pray that you would just use this conversation to help somebody. Clearly, you're in this conversation. And so I pray that you would touch every person that listens. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I mean, we got to do a part 2. So, yeah. Wow.
I think if you're dealing with somebody who has a godly purpose, the same God that is helping you to like work through it is the same God who's giving me patience through it as well. So a lot of times I think, well, early on I would take it personal. Like, you are doing this when you should be doing this. Or you're doing this to spite me. Like, you're focusing on your computer all night just because you don't want to do bath time or something like that.
Right, that's crazy. No, I wasn't. It's like I'm focused
You're just
on
locked in.
I'm locked in because
Yeah.
I'm thinking about all of the stuff that I promised you.
Right.
That's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest frustration in our relationship and our communication style is like, you'll be like, I need you to do bath time. Or worse, you won't say anything at all and you'll give me the silent treatment. And I'm trying to figure out, why am I getting the silent treatment?
Yeah.
And in my mind, I'm like, well, you know what I got coming up.
Right.
And I'm attaching to what is coming up to the promises that I've made you.
Sure. Yeah.
And so I think sometimes purpose is painful, but I do think I know you're right, because purpose shouldn't leave your family in pain. Because purpose is already painful enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the one thing that should be together when you're doing ministry or when you on purpose, in purpose, is the family, because that's where the enemy wants to attack. If he can get the head, then he can get the body. If he can get the man, then he can get the family.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Yeah. That's good. And I think I've leaned more into that, really believing you. Because, a man be like, I'm doing this for us. This for the house. But I really, really believe that now, even more than ever.
Why?
Just because of your track record. You have said things that you wanted to do, plans for us, plans for our family, and you made it happen. You missed to make it happen. So, yeah, that's important to me. You being a man of your word, you're going to get it done. And I think that kind of what comforts me, to be like, he's just
even in the chaos.
In the chaos.
Like,
he is passionate, and that's where we are with it.
Yeah, and I think and I'm not saying I'm God, right? I'm not saying that, but I think that principle is applicable to our relationship with God, that in my attempt to try to be the man of God, I'm trying to mirror the relationship that God has with us, that even in the chaos, even in the confusion, God has a track record that if he's done it back then, he's sure and able to do it again.
Yeah.
And so I try to even mirror that in my relationship with you. Like, so if I tell you, yo, we doing limitless nights. You what?
Right.
We doing it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm standing 10 toes down on it. Like, I believe that God's hand is on it.
Yeah, for sure.
Not arrogantly speaking, but I believe, so help me God, that God's hand is on my life. I believe that God's hand is on my marriage. I believe that God's hand is on my family. I believe I didn't come from the legacy that we came from just to be sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
No. Like, we in this game. Like, we in this faith game for real. Like, 2 families. I'm a 3rd generation preacher. Like, I don't got a wicked jump shot. My jump shot is me grabbing a mic. My jump shot is this.
Yeah.
This is how I'm getting out.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate that you give me the space to do that, but I also need to be cognizant. Cognizant.
Oof. Words are
I
hard.
need to be aware that going 100 miles an hour every day is dangerous.
Yeah.
And sometimes we go 100 miles an hour and don't put gas in the car, or worse, got gas in the car, but don't got no oil in the tank.
Yeah.
And so you got to make sure that in your personal life,
That's good.
you got some oil in your tank. You got to make sure in your relationship, you got to have some oil in that tank.
Yeah.
You got to make sure in your kids that the oil is not just for you. The oil is for the generations to come after you. So how are you refilling? How are you replenishing your life? Not just as the man of God, not just as the woman of God. Not just as the man of God outside your family or outside your, like, how are you replenishing your life? How are you refueling? How are you getting back to the oil in your life? Like, what is the place? Where is the safe space? Where is the secret place that you can go that God refills you?
Yeah. It's good to have gas in the car, but you better have oil in that tank, because that's an expensive fix. If that engine is done, baby. Yeah. But yeah. So, and I find that for me, it can be a lonely place, but I think I heard, and you're going to tell me exactly who told me this, but it's a difference between, you told me this. It's a difference between isolation and solitude. And a lot of times,
I'm not saying nothing, baby.
I be listening to you.
I ain't saying that, baby.
No, you preached on that, and that is so powerful, because a lot of times I thought that I was being isolated. And isolation is a nasty place. You get to start to thinking negatively, and you just skew everything with a negative lens. But when you are in solitude with God, your Savior, He will give you the answers, and you don't feel as like you feel like you have somebody in the fight with you. So let's talk about that socially, because we've navigated a lot of things socially as far as like friendships and as we pursue purpose and as we mature in our marriage. How has that looked for you?
Yeah, I think.
And how do you handle it going forward?
I think, to just piggyback on what you just said, solitude is the space that happens when you pray. So it's a communication. So it's a dialogue. And then the next level, it becomes a monologue. Because at one point, you and God are talking. And then at the next point, at the next level, you got to learn to stop talking and start listening.
Yeah.
So it is a dialogue, but then it moves to a monologue, because God needs to say some things. Sure. And you need to be quiet long enough in solitude that the secret place becomes the place that you get the answer. And so how do I navigate? Because that kind of goes right into your point about this whole, like, we've had some relationships that have lasted. We've had some relationships that have not lasted. I think for me, it is easy. And I think for us, it's easy for us to kind of be like, wash our hands. And that comes from being a PK. That literally comes from being a pastor's kid. Yeah. I don't know what it is, but we've seen so many up and down relationships. We know at the end of the day, we all we got. So when you go into relationships like that, it is a little toxic.
A little bit.
It's a little toxic. It's a lot of time.
Waiting for the death date of the funeral.
Because we know it's coming.
Yeah.
And so we know we've learned to anticipate the death of a relationship.
And of a person too, but that's a whole nother conversation. The amount of funerals of pastor's child.
Oh yeah, but it does
something to you.
It does something to you, but it's not just pastor's kids. It's people that have been reared and raised in families that they had to be their own solace in a sense. They had to be 10 toes down for themselves, because they couldn't go to mom, they couldn't go to dad, they couldn't go to grandma, they couldn't go to grandfather, they couldn't go to aunt. Even though they were in the house, it didn't feel like they were a part of the house. You get what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, in relationships, people feel like I'm expecting the death date of a friendship. I'm cool with it, even though I'm really not cool with it, because at the end of the day, I've always had to be there for me.
Right.
And so what we've done is that two people that feel like this have now gotten in a relationship. So when I'm done, she like, I was waiting. And when you
done and I'm finished.
Yeah. So the crazy
I've been finished.
I've been done.
You,
I've been like it was. And what's really crazy is Breeze will tell me, she'll be like, okay, you excited about this new person? And she'll just be like, I'll be like, yeah, it's super dope, good, great guy, great guy, this and that, great girl, this and that. You should meet. They're like, ministry. These are ministry people. These are people that are gonna help us.
Word.
Oh my gosh. But he's like, wait on it.
Yeah.
And sooner or later it just begins to crumble. And I think the way that I'm navigating it is in the newness of relationships now, because we're coming into new relationships again.
Yeah.
What I'm learning now is I got to set up boundaries, but I also have to frame the boundaries with values. Yeah. So for me, value is fun, work-life balance. Values for me is innovation, creativity. Yeah. Those are some of the values that I have. And so my mentor says, everybody is valuable, but not everybody brings equal value to your life. Mm-hmm. And so the way I interpret that is, it doesn't mean that I spend more time with the people that bring more value to my life opposed to the people that don't. It means that when the people who bring a certain amount of value to my life, it means that I take the time with them that is needed to make sure that I'm getting what I need and they're getting what they need. Yeah. Because the relationship is not, it's more like, it's more aligned. When the relationship is like this, because you'll have three people in your life, mentor, peer, and mentee. You'll have three, some people call them different things, but you'll have people who you aspire to be like. You'll have peers that are on your level, and then you'll have people that are not beneath you, but you can pour into. And so I try to keep that at the forefront of my mind to know there's some relationships that they're pulling me up. Yeah. There's some relationships that we on the same level. We have the same situation, holding each other accountable. We want to be on the next level, but this is where we are right now. Yeah. We're content, but we're not complacent. And then the person who we're pulling up, it keeps you humble enough to know that was once you. Mm-hmm. You was once there. You was there. So I guess that's how I'm handling it, because I don't know another way to handle it, because I think the way our life is set up, this is the bitter cup. Yeah. Yeah. And I love that we are so locked in with that together as a unit, because we pretty much have the same sets of friends. Oh, definitely now. You don't have no friends that I don't know. Yeah. I don't have no friends you don't know. Right. I mean, and so I think we've matured socially where we're comfortable with saying no. We're comfortable with not going. We're comfortable with not being invited. Yeah, because I'm gonna want to stay home and get in the bed with you, on the couch with you, or so I think that is so important. On the couch with you for sure. That is something that, think about that when you are. I think people should think about that when they choose a mate, because not to say there was a time where I wanted to be out. Like before I got married, I was always out. I don't need to do that anymore. You still be going out. But that's okay. Well, that's not true. Oh, wow. If I'm going out, it's because it's political now. It's politics now. Absolutely. See, that's what I talked about. High Def invited me out. No, we're not name dropping. I'm name dropping. No, that's the last time I went out. No. I was invited out by a friend, DJ High Def. He asked me, he said, shout out to High Def. He said, you need to be here. Okay, if you're not going to be here. Was it a boardroom meeting? It was a social event that I needed to be at. And he, as my friend and brother, said, if you're going to really do what you feel like God has called you to do, you got to get there.
See what I'm saying? Y'all will bring God into everything. And
Good
that's
God,
why,
I like that.
Ladies, if
Howard,
you're watching
thank
this, these pastors, because they will sprinkle Jesus in every single
God.
thing.
Howard says, if you're going to really fulfill your purpose, man, you really got to get in this room.
He's throwing you under the bus.
No. And I told him I wasn't going to go. I said, I need to spend time with my wife.
But
I asked you, and you said, yeah, babe, go ahead.
Of course. Because if somebody asks you, could they go out, baby, they already mentally there. They already there. The outfit's already packed.
No,
when I tell you,
no.
as soon as I said, yeah, no problem, baby, in 5 seconds, the car was down the driveway. But it's okay. I'm okay with not, because more so than not, I get invited out and I really don't want to go.
Not true. I don't want to make this about an argument with you.
Next question.
What's your next question?
We talked about a lot of.
We did. We can wrap it up. But
No. You ready for me to go?
No.
I mean, it's my house. I can just go upstairs.
Yeah, I'm ready to go upstairs too.
Anyway,
Wherever you go, I'm trying to
you
go.
got to pick up the kids. But
pick you up.
Yeah, because I have to do laundry and cook and all those things. So you probably should pick up both of them. But
Yeah,
anyway,
I'm gonna take you out on a date tonight.
Yeah, okay.
Spontaneous. Me and you.
I'm trying to be
Let's
a good
go down.
podcaster.
Let's go down to the Pendry. Let me take you there. Spend a couple dollars on you.
We talked a lot about some negative moments in our marriage. Not to say they're going to stop, but we handled them better.
Yeah.
What are some of the reasons why you like being married? To me.
I just like you. I mean, we talked about it a little bit at the beginning, but I always knew I was going to be with you. I know you eat that popcorn. Don't act like you ain't eat the popcorn. Don't. The popcorn right here. Go ahead, get you some. Go ahead, get you some. I always knew I was gonna be with you. You was the dream girl. I said that's you. You're the woman I wanted. Before I even met you, my sister was talking about you. I said, I don't know what this woman looks like. I don't know what this girl look like, but she's my wife. Yeah, I can tell you. Ashley will stand 10 toes down and say that. Like, yo, I knew you was going to be my wife.
Why do we like being married to each other?
I like being married to you because...
I know how to cook.
Yes. I mean, yes, but no. I mean, you know how to cook. Physically, you're attractive. Spiritually, you're attractive. Emotionally, you're attractive. I'm attracted to you. I just know I got to get you in an environment because you'll shut that down. Like, you're not getting none tonight. I got to watch these kids. I got to do this. Like, yo, okay. She either goes from like super sassy or like just really super sexy. So it's, but it's no
super silent.
And that's the sassy part. So, but spiritually, why am I married to you? Why do I love being married to you? Because you are my favor. You're my favor.
Wow.
A man that finds a good thing obtain a favor. You can't even get favor until you get a wife. So every door that has been opened to me didn't happen with me until I got with you. Wow. I'm talking about as far as like career advancement. I'm talking about spiritual advancement. I'm talking about emotional advancement. I'm talking about therapy. I'm talking about just the maturity, the becoming of a man with Josh Bear did not happen until Brianna came in my life.
Wow.
And I'm grateful for that. So that's why I am never leaving you.
I love that.
Yeah.
What is some of the things
I did that. I did that.
What is something that we used to do that we don't do anymore that you would like to do again? That we should continue to do?
We used to really go out a lot to like art museums.
Yeah.
That was our thing, like, especially because I was in design school back then, but like that was the thing, like DC, art museums, just a lot of social activity. But not so, that's not true. Yeah, social activity, but we weren't going like outside. We would like go to like the museums, the park, those type of things. Yeah, like just really like do life together. And I think having the girls didn't throw a wrench in it, but it kind of fixed our focus on priority, like bill paying.
We don't spend as much money.
Yeah, that kind of thing. So yeah, but we weren't even making a lot of money. I was broke. You was making more money than me.
Man, we've been through some things, but the key word is through. And I love being married to you.
Why you like being married to me? That's what I want to know. Like, let the people know. Don't let them know too much, cause just let it go. Let it go. Yeah.
I love that you physically. I'm attracted to you.
Really?
You look good. You dress good. You dress well. You smell good. You always put it together. We laugh really hard with each other. We could be silly with each other. You push me spiritually, emotionally, but I know that you want the absolute best for me. And outside of what you can give to me, but what I can give to myself. And so you're constantly pushing me, even when I don't want to hear it. And I think that is just a measure of somebody who just loves you and just, wants to see you thrive. We had some good times. Like, we have good times. And even when we are mad at each other, we always break character. You know what I mean? Like, we're always like...
Because you're an actress.
We're always like...
Yeah, you're an actress.
Yeah, we don't stay mad for long. And you don't allow us to be, mad at each other.
I got a great question for you before we wrap this up. How can I break character faster? Like, what is the one thing that there's something that you could do for me that even if I'm mad,
be naked?
Come on, Bree. Let me finish my thought before you start going crazy.
Okay.
There's one thing that you probably could do to me that would make me break character and be like, all right. I'm saying, what is that thing for you? Is there something that I could do to make you break character? Or are you the kind of person that's like,
I'm
I don't care. I'm standing on business.
Not really, but if I do, I try to avoid you because I know if we're in the same area, one of us is going to break. But I think you break if I'm like, I rarely am the one that breaks. You know, more mature in that area than I am, but I think I'll ask you, like, you want something to eat? Or I'll start cooking something.
Yeah, and then she'll just do like this, like, you want something to eat?
But it's made. Yeah. What's the one thing that surprised you about marriage, like good or bad, that nobody told you about?
You got to schedule sex.
Okay.
I mean, you do. Like, I'm thinking like, yo, it's in-house. Let's get to it. And then the other thing was, I didn't foresee that convincing you of my purpose would be a challenge. Mm-hmm. I didn't know how much I had to master the skill of communication with you would help me fulfill my purpose. Mm-hmm. I say all that to say, I didn't know it was going to be hard to convince you that, yo, this is what I want to do with my life. This is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that surprised me. Like, yo, like, why is she just not getting it? Why are you not just like, yo, like, yeah, this is what we doing. He's a preacher. He want to preach now, even though when I met him, he wasn't trying to be a preacher. It's like, but it's like, yeah, I am now. I've been it. It's like, I think now you like, all right, you kind of getting it now.
Yeah.
Year 4, you wasn't there.
No.
Before the pandemic, you wasn't there.
I'm like, how are we going to pay these bills?
Yeah, God's faithful.
But yeah.
God is faithful.
I'm going to say what surprised me is the sheer amount of food that you eat.
What?
Yeah.
Come on, yo.
I mean, in the family, but just the amount of like, guys eat a lot.
Yeah.
And yeah.
That's it?
Also, what surprised me is how beneficial restraint is.
That surprised you?
Yes, because I thought being silent, not saying everything that's on my mind, not, talking too much kind of suppressed me and made me feel like, oh, she doesn't have an opinion. Like, but I don't need to share my opinion all the time. I don't need to be the hero in this.
Talk to the women that's feeling like they always gotta say something. They always gotta tell him.
I get it, because I'm the same way, and I still deal with that. But let me tell you, if you have your relationship with God, right, He will tell your spouse the things that you tell to God. There are many times, or He will tell somebody else. Mm-hmm. The thing that you're trying to tell to God. There are many times, many arguments, disagreements we've had, or many just calm conversations. Hey, you should do X, Y, Z. That they're just not going to get. They're not going to hear it from you, and that's okay. But you have to be okay with not being the hero. If it's that serious to you, if it's that good of an idea, or if it's that important of a critique that you want to give your spouse, pray about it. Sometimes the answer is not, most of the time the answer is not going to come from you. We just last night had conversations with our friends who basically said everything, and of course I didn't tell them. They said everything that I told to Josh, to not even a night prior. So I have to be okay with that and not hold resentment. Like, well, I said it and you didn't listen to me when I said the same thing. Like, no. You want him to get the message. The message is the most important, not the messenger. Yeah.
You did good, baby.
Did I? I'm not a pro like you. You're just so good at this. And
no, I'm not.
You are walking into your purpose.
We are. This is This is not a me thing. This is a we thing.
You are leading.
Thank you for allowing me to lead.
Yeah, and so I appreciate your relentless commitment to your craft, and it's a blessing that your spouse's purpose it affects the world in a positive way. And so I'm grateful. I see it. That's a part 3.
What's that?
Just me coming to the realization of me jumping on the bandwagon, like being all in. Because you would say that you're not all in, right?
I used to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm definitely all in. I think it was probably when we were in Dubai and somebody recognized you. I was like, okay, I can get with this guy. No. No.
When that happened, she was like,
no. I was like, oh, that's cute.
No, absolutely not.
You were. I was excited.
No, absolutely not.
But that's when I really learned the reach of your platform. Seriously speaking, I was like, okay, cool. I mean, I was still upset that you was spending more time in front of the camera than with me at times, but I was like, okay, it paid off. But yeah, no, I'm till the wheels fall off.
Yeah, we locked in. We locked in, man. I appreciate this. This is good. This is good. Thank you for doing this. Because this is not me do this. This is not. Yeah, thank you for making you do. Yeah, I mean, you're such a gem. I just hope that that our community sees. Well, I know they will see as time begins to unfold, and you begin to step more confidently in what God has even been telling you to do privately. Not even like unbeknownst to me, like I don't know.
Yeah.
But like I just pray that as you step boldly into what God has for you, that it's the eyes have not seen, ears have not heard.
Yeah.
Neither has it entered into the heart of man all of the things that God has in store. You.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some sex next time. Yeah, because you went so deep.
Get you a man that can speak life, and I can't wait to walk into. I said, get you a man that can speak life into.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So when I walk into it, I can't wait to use it. I can't do bath time. I'm writing a sermon.
Whoa!
I'm editing a video. I can't cook.
Whoa!
So from your lips to God's ears.
Whoa! Wow! Yo, I gotta go. That was good. Listen, man.
Yeah,
Listen.
was really good.
This was good. We love you.
Yeah, we do.
Episode 1. Locked in. And we was talking. Like, this is like an hour 20 pod. Like,
we was yapping.
We was yapping it up. But this was good because I'm going to go back and take some notes because I asked a lot of stuff. But listen, we got an event on the 25th of this month, February 25th. We are doing Limitless Nights at Collective Space right there on Redwood Street. That's right on the intersection of Redwood and Utah.
Across from the Hippodrome.
Yes, across from the Hippodrome. I would love for you to be our guest. Tickets are in the bio. Get you a ticket. We're talking about relationships. We're going to continue this conversation. And I think that God is going to speak to somebody's heart. And the healing that you need is in the room. So listen, February 25th, 2025 is going down. Let's talk about it. I love you. Peace.